ambulance. A for aeroplane. B for bus. B for boy. B. C for car. C for cow. D for drum. D for dinosaur. E for engine. E for elephant. E for eel. E for eagle. F for fan. F for fox. G for gorilla. G for guitar. G for giant. G for giraffe. H for helicopter. H for horse. I for idea. I for ice cream. I for iguana. I for igloo. J for jaguar. J for jam. K for kangaroo. K for koala. L for ladybug. L for lollipop. M for mother. M for mango. N for noodles. N for nuts. O for ostrich. O for octopus. O for ocean. O for oboe. P for penguin. P for panda. Q for queen. Q for quail. Q. R for rainbow. R for rabbit. S for snake. S for snail. S for shark. S for ship. T for tiger. T for tongue. U for umbrella. U for unicorn. V for violin. V for watcher. W for whale. W for walrus. X for box. X for ox. Y for yo-yo. Y for yogurt. Z for zoo. Z for zebra.